So I'm in Olverston, which is right next door to Olverston, and you can imagine quite a few packages went missing, quite a few people got lost trying to find the place, but then again they are right next to each other. Now both of those are next to a village called Elburton, which we're coming up to, and all three of those in the early medieval period had a vowel at the beginning that was ah, and all of them have turned out into different vowels, L, O, and which just goes to show how mad we are as a people. Now there can be no doubt that those names were spoken differently in the medieval period to ensure that people knew what and where they were talking about. But sound of vowels in modern English, certainly Southern English, merges, and so that's why we have Olverston and Olverston. And with my Southern British accent, which is obviously the superior way to speak English, it does also have its, one or two minor faults, and that is that gliding between different vowels. They just end up sounding the same. This is Elburton Church, and it is next to a posh house, which I'll show you in a minute, and there's another couple of furlongs before you get to where the village is, where the people live. This is another way that you can interpret the landscape. We have to think where a village is. Where does a village start? And there's two ways of thinking about it. One of which I think is wrong, unfortunately. I don't want it to be wrong, but I think it is. There's the democratic way of thinking about what a village is, that the village starts with the people, the retirees, the pork butchers, the web designers. That should be where the village is, the centre of the village. And the other alternative is the old-fashioned oligarchic way of looking at things, is where the church is, and also what comes with the church is the manor house. You are looking at the English state. This is its representative for 1,000 years. And this demonstrates it beautifully. Is that this is so far away from where even the farmers live, that it shows a division. Now democracy doesn't mean voting. Democracy means who is entitled to vote, i.e. everybody. We are the demos, the ordinary people. And there was voting's gone on in this country for 1,000 years. But for most of it, it's been you'd have to have the only way you could be permitted to vote is if you have a certain amount of property. So it is oligarchic. So we've been an oligarchy for a long time, and now we're a democracy. Now people say to you, oh, it's the oligarchs. Well, they're not oligarchs. You have the right to vote in and out governments, according to what you feel like. Now that they are the rich, but they're not oligarchs anymore. But I just thought I'd put this for interpreting the countryside. Look for the church, and sometimes there'll be a big house that isn't the biggest house in the village, and that's because of social change in the sort of 1800s. They built a bigger house for themselves, somewhere more picturesque, away from the peasants, even more away from the peasants, leaving behind what is often called a manor farm. But that manor farm is the real manor. So this should help you a method of looking at interpreting the countryside. There's the River Severn, where we were in Littleton upon Severn last time. Up this hill is a borough, a berry, an Iron Age Hillfort. It's on the highest land between here and the River Severn. It's facing the Severn. It is less defensible to the east of it and a little bit to the south, but it is defended in those ways. There is tactics. The advantage, you might think to yourself, well, that's stupid, not having a slope falling away on all sides. No, what it does is reduce the tactical options of the person who's attacking you. So by reducing their options, it means it gives you an advantage to choose how to deal with the threat. And one of the ways they do that is to increase the size of the defences on the flatter sides. But anyway, this is the bear of Elburton, and probably, and the reason I think it's that it's not just somebody called Albert or Ethelbert. We know it's Ethelberg because of the Charter of Littleton. There's a bit that I didn't do on the south side, and it is Athelburgheimer Yamera, something like that. And so that's the only reason we know the real name of Elburton, is because of that charter in Littleton, the next door charter. So the L part is Athel, and the bear is Berg. Now it probably isn't somebody, this village probably didn't belong to somebody called Athelburgh. Otherwise I think the name Elburton will be Elberiston or something like that. It would have that genitive ES on the end. So, but I think the borough belonged to somebody who had a name that began with Athel. And I'm pretty sure this is the name of this fort to the English, not to the people who built it. People who built it were like 1,000 years before the English got here. But to the English it was known as Athelburgh. Now it's private property. I don't fancy having an argument with another farmer, so I'm not going to go up there. I was in two minds, but it is here. You can see it on the LiDAR, you see it on the satellite photographs and on the map. It's marked on the map, and you can also notice there is a footpath going around the edge of it, so you can access the wood that it's in. It's actually very pretty in autumn. You might have noticed there's a brightness to my footage at the moment. I bought my GoPro, which is an excellent vlogging tool if you've got it on a little stick, so that it can focus. You can be within its focus. It's excellent for vlogging, but it always conked out at 30% battery power. It started conking out at 70%, which makes it less than useless. So I was able to justify the expense of buying what is an even more excellent handheld vlogging tool. That's the DJI Pocket 3. Is it 3? Yeah, it's 3. And it has a Tony 2 lens on it, which is really very bright. So it's sucking all the light that it can in through that lens, and a 1-inch sensor as well, which is really very amazing for the price. But its limitations, look, you can see a bank here. Can you see this? See that bank going up there? It might be the approach. It's not. I don't think it's the defences. The approach up to the fort. So it's a very bright lens. You can get brighter, but the disadvantage to it is I can't change the aperture. So it will always be blurry behind my head, because what it's doing is focusing on my face, because I am the subject, even though the subject of my videos is not about me, it's about the landscape. But as far as the photography is concerned, or certainly this machine thinks it would be useless for me to go around with my face not focused. So the GoPro had everything in focus. So it's not entirely, it's very, very nice. But whenever it's pointing towards me, it will have a blurry background. And it's another nice thing about it is obviously that is physics, engineering, not electronics. It is not the brightness and the blurry background. It's not, you know, whizzo calculations by a computer. It's the physics of a lens and a sensor, which is quite a nice thing. That's a very abrupt escarpment. Can you see that? So that is a wall. That is very defensible. You'd have a seriously hard job getting up that as an attacker. Elburton as a settlement. For some or all of the Anglo-Saxon period, even though Littleton, part of recognised, not Olverston, Olverston, and so we can see that the Saxon Charter of Olverston is a very interesting one, very, very complex. About half of it goes with the current parish boundary in very interesting ways. I was trying to work out a place called Wican, which means reed wick. A wick is a outlying farm. So I thought it'd be close to the village, but it obviously is called Wick. It's probably further out. I looked to the edge of the current Olverston and found a parish and found a place called Redwick. And Chreod, which means reed, can come out as gets sort of compressed as either red or reed or rod. It tends to be rod in places like Wiltshire. And I thought, okay, do I have any more evidence? Because it goes on to North Wican, and that is right next to Redwick is a place called Northwick, and it's just beautiful. I love it when that all comes together. There's loads of other names in this charter that still exist today, like Sheep Coombe. I've done that part before in a video years ago, but I'm re-looking at it. One, I'm dealing with a lot of stuff at home, building work and things like that. It's really holding me back, keeping an eye on what's going on with the house, and that's been going on for 2 months. So that's why I've only been doing one video a week instead of two. I was keeping quite close to home. That's the fort over there in those trees. So you can see how flat it is on the north and the eastern side. It's very, very pleasant autumn afternoon. It's getting dark. The lens on this gives the impression it's lighter than it is. I expect it's something like 3 o'clock now, or 2:30, I don't know, something like that. And anyway, thank you to all those people who have tried to help me identify elms. I thought I saw some elms coming down here. They are in fact hazels, but I have been looking. It has been helpful. The leaves that have the texture of sandpaper is whoever said that, more than one person I think, very apt. I think I've definitely got that. The earlobes at the bottom of the leaf being asymmetrical is useful. but I still keep mistaking them for hazels. But there's small-leaved elms in hedges. That's becoming, I've been misunderstanding them for years, I think. But yeah, thank you for all the help from you subscribers. I had a lady subscriber, subscriberess, subscribertrix. She mentioned that rhines are called reens in this neck of the wood, and it's really helpful when people tell me things like this. It is related, the word, as she says, reen, is related to the River Rhine, of the name Rhine. And what this is the car coming through. And that H is an imposter, doesn't belong. It's Greek. It's Greek influence, Greek interpretation, and they wrote it down. Now, Old English for the River Rhine, the German River Rhine, is Rhin, or it's got a Y in the middle of it, which makes it uncertain. Y can be U, so Rhun, which would cause confusion with the word Rune, which means secret, magical spell. So I suspect it's Rhin. I mean, it comes out in English as rinnel, that's another word. Incidentally, rinnel and Rhine, as in a drainage channel, don't exist in the Oxford English Dictionary, which is a massive book. Which is a massive old book. But I know them as an English speaker, native English speaker. They certainly exist. Yes, no, I shall try and say Rhine from now on. The Old English is Rhin. And yeah, that's very, very helpful. Thank you. So these two leaves, one is an elm, I think, and one is a hazel. And the only real difference I can see between them is the colour at first glance. But if we look up here, that right hand lobe next to the axis is higher than the left hand lobe, whereas they're pretty much equal over here. Secondly, I could sand my walls down with that leaf there. That's very abrasive. And this is soft as a baby's bottom. So what you have, I think, is an elm and a hazel leaf. This lane is called the Haws, Hawes. So see what can we date a hedge? So we've got sycamore, elder, that's true. What is this? Like sandpaper with a asymmetrical lobe. You have an elm, that's 3. That's hazel, that's fort. Oh, but we do have the yew, that's 5. You didn't think that grew wild, did you? Beech, 6. You can see that's diagnostic there. And you've got the older up there, that's 7. So that's me 30 yards. And I'm coming back into Olverston. And so haws, the word haws, haw is old English hara, which means hedged enclosure, and the haws suggests there was more than one up here. That's a later medieval or post-medieval name, and I don't think it's on the maps anymore, but it was on the old OS map. So because we have a piece of historical evidence, that's a name on the map, that is old, that has an old English name, Middle English name, that's to do with hedges, we can use the Hooper method and count the number of woody species, including roses but not briars, and it's the number of species times 110 and then add 30. So that's 770, add 30, that's 800. So that's 12. So that's 1225 as a rough estimate of the age of that hedge. And the more rough it is, that was a nice rough boundary. The rougher it is, the more like an old wood, a really thin old wood your hedge is, the more likely it will be old. So look out for that.